Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so today marks basically the start of a new Alliance War season 24 War 1. ASR is going up against SAS, Andromeda Scrolls. Now, I've heard the name about quite a bit. I'm quite sure they are a mid-level Masters Alliance. I don't think they have hit the top end of Masters quite yet, but I think they have been fairly stable, establishing themselves in the Masters bracket for quite a few seasons. So, that being said, obviously we have some changes. Stubborn is no longer a defensive tactic. Protect seems to be the go-to defensive tactic now in the top end, and that's exactly who we faced off. So, let me just jump right over here and we can start with the war. So once again, I am on path 1 in both section 1 and 2, and here we can see that even before I had my first fight, we already had a couple of KO lead, and this war was not exactly the closest one. Obviously SAS did a great job, cleared the entire map, but at no point the war got like quite suspense, I don't know, tight. We basically had the lead from the very start of the war till the very end, but all that being said, dying is still not an option. I finished the previous season 23, deathless, so I would like to keep my streak alive. I would like to have this season as well without any deaths, and I need to play my best. Now, the protect is the main defensive tactic. It's perfect for Quake, and that is probably gonna be maybe not so great piece of news for many of you watching, because I know that not everybody enjoys watching all that much Quake gameplay. However, she is gonna be more dominant, because especially down to the fact that my bot group doesn't have too many people who are comfortable with Quake, and that means that there is going to be a whole lot more of quaking for me to do, as much as I have gathered. So that means that Quake is more than likely going to be present in pretty much every single Alliance War video. My apologies for that. If you do not enjoy the Quake gameplay, you guys all know where fast forward button is, but for those of you who do enjoy the gameplay and the commentary, well then, thank you for sticking around, I suppose. So the first fight here was against Vigorous Assault and Arc Overload node, and the trick with Quake, the best trick with Quake here is if you start the fight whilst charging a heavy attack, then they never get that regen to begin with, and yeah, it just makes the entire fight extremely simple. Now this next fight though, I kind of wish I didn't use Quake, because in top end, since Quake is going to be so popular, I think it's going to become a common practice in maxing out physical resistance mastery, which I think was the case here. Because even though I had a 30% attack and health boost on and another 10% attack boost, you can see that I wasn't really doing all that much damage, and especially against a rank 3 6-star, where, well, masochism healing is gonna give him back quite significant chunk of health in addition to the willpower healing. This fight's gonna last a bit, especially after the start. The start was a bit chaotic as well. You can definitely feel that I might be a bit rusty when it comes to using Quake. I don't think it's gonna take me long to get back in the groove, but due to the fact that I mainly play for content on my channel, and I mainly play this game either on live streams or preparing videos, I haven't used Quake all that much recently, because there have been a ton of new champions, ton of new interactions to make, and yeah, it just so happened that I had put her aside a bit. I still love her to bits, but it is what it is. And yeah, now Quake is definitely going to be much more present, and I need to get back into groove of things whilst I use her. But here we can see that after a fairly chaotic start, I regained control of the fight, and slowly but surely we are getting this Magneto down. It takes us nearly 2 minutes here at this point, so we can see that the time of the fights themselves is going to go up quite significantly, especially since now I would like to say vast majority of the defenders overall, especially in top master tiers, is going to be rank 3 6 stars. And using 5-star Quake obviously is A, riskier because it's a 5-star against rank 3, and B, takes longer time. Which actually is going to be one of the reasons why I'm going to decide not to use Quake. Here you can see that I had some problems loading the game. I don't know, the game has been fairly slow and glitchy, and then I had to go and double check whether it's recording properly. But yeah, so this is already the next morning, section 2. I'm on path 1 again. I think that's also going to be pretty much where I stay for most of the season, unless there's some emergency or some help needed elsewhere. But yeah, my officers feel, well, that should be my spot, because they like to put me on path 1 and then kind of forget about it because I do a relatively decent job clearing it. Right, so this first fight, I'm going to be going up against Mr. Sinister. I could have used either one of the champions that I brought with me. Obviously, Human Torch has a phenomenal Mr. Sinister matchup, and so does Quake. The reason why I did go with Warlock here, though, is because Mr. Sinister is large, and that means he is affected by Protect Global. And that means if at any given point I would start hitting too hard with Human Torch, he would gain the Protect, and then I'd have to intercept. I just figured that since Warlock is extra large himself, in case he does gain that protection, I will be able to remove it every time I knock him down, and obviously Warlock just destroys this fight. I'm probably overthinking it quite a bit in my head, but such is always the case with War. And yeah, I didn't use Quake because I wanted to mix things up. I didn't want this entire war to be me just purely quaking everything. I'm sure there is going to be one like that throughout the season, because that's what I primarily did during off-season. I was running Suicide Masteries, I brought in Nick Fury, Gold Pool, and Quake to heal up instead of lose health every fight, and that's what I did. I just quaked till the final boss. Right, so next fight, here we have Hitmonkey on this buffet node, and this fight could get very dicey very quickly, so I wanted to be very, very careful as I went into this fight, and if possible at all, to make things easy for yourself, the best way to deal with Hitmonkey is simply not to deal with Hitmonkey, and what I mean by that is never knock him down, and you don't have to worry about any of his abilities. It basically becomes a vanilla matchup. In case of Warlock, we can see that I am preventing buffet heal with my infections, and I'm just not throwing special attacks or heavy attacks, which is what you typically do playing Warlock. But if you never knock Hitmonkey down, he doesn't evade, he doesn't shrug off anything, he doesn't trigger any of his modes or whatever he has, and it becomes as straightforward of a fight as if you were fighting Iron Patriot. So, if possible at all, depending what nodes you're going up against, just don't knock the Hitmonkey down, and the fight is gonna be super easy. And obviously, Hitmonkey is not a large or X-large champion, so Protect wasn't an issue there either. Next up, another fight where I could have easily used Quake with no problems, and I often have taken this exact matchup using Quake. But I'm bringing in Human Torch, because otherwise I would feel bad for Human Torch that I didn't use him for anything else this war, and also because I knew I'm going to use Quake for my last fight, and because of that, I just didn't want to risk losing any health. And yeah, so Human Torch it is. Obviously, Human Torch has a fantastic matchup here as well, simply down to the fact that Sentinel's level 1 is energy based and it's multi-hit. We can see that I gain like 6 or something smolders per level 1, and yeah, my damage just goes up extremely rapidly. I don't care about his analysis charge or anything else. I just keep my temperature up high, lots of smolders, lots of damage. If I do trigger buffet node, then Human Torch takes care of that and actually reverses it. So very simple, straightforward matchup. And this war has actually been super inexpensive to me as well. I only used 1 health potion, which I could have probably saved, but I did have a couple of these that are set to expire in like a day, so I think I need to use 2 potions next war. Otherwise, I'm just gonna feel crap about myself for letting them expire. But yeah, so this is the last fight of the war for me, and that's Quake against Warlock on this, I think, Power Focus 1 enhanced special 1. Warlock, he is a large champion, but obviously since I'm using Quake, I don't care about Protect Global, and slowly but surely Warlock is going down, and there are not going to be any unexpected surprises. I think I'm going to make 1 mistake and I'm going to get tagged by a single hit, and that is going to be totally my fault. I'm just going to fall out of the rhythm a bit, and I kind of felt myself, well, when I was quaking, that my fingers are, I don't know, doing something I didn't want them to do. So as much as we like to often blame the game and dropped input stuff like that, this one was on me for sure. But after that 1 hit, I don't think there are going to be any more issues. Right, so in interest of not keeping you guys here for too long, we did end up winning this war, so we have started the season 24 with a win. That's awesome. It's always good to win your first and hopefully most of the consecutive wars following that. So we did beat SAS. They did do a good job clearing our map. I think the total death count wasn't anything overly impressive. I think we died 7 times, and I think our opponents died 20 or 17, something like that. So as I said, it definitely wasn't the closest of the wars, but it was also, well, relatively clean. Obviously that 7 death count is not quite ideal, and we do want to get it down, but we can write it off as being the first war of the season. And yeah, that is pretty much it for today's war video. As I said before, you guys can see here already, I did in fact like take screenshots of every person participating in this war and what attackers were being used. And with that, I'm gonna be gathering the data and putting it down on a spreadsheet to see how Alliance War meta has changed and which are the most popular champions. And I'm gonna upload those videos either every 3 or every 6 wars in the season, so stay tuned for that. Lastly, before I go, I am very close to hitting 33,000 subscribers, so if you guys haven't already, but you still have somehow found yourselves watching this video till this very exact moment, please do me a favor and hit that sub button. About half of you watch my videos but don't sub. Why is that? Is my beard too big? Are my glasses too black? Either way. That is it for now, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about